During November, the price of silver hit a 5-month high. So are we finally seeing a turnaround in the metals fortunes, and we can expect a run into the end of the year? In this video, I'll talk about the key levels to watch and set up a trade to try and take advantage of that. Hello, I'm David Jones from Capital.com, and I thought as a new month's getting underway, we'd take a look at silver. Some volatile trading during November, but I think it does leave us where it's trading now in an interesting position going into December. So as usual in this video, I'll talk about some of the recent news around silver. We'll look at the levels to watch, then we'll jump onto the platform and see if we can set a trade up. If you're watching this and you haven't subscribed, if you could click on subscribe, it does help support the channel. And of course, every Friday now at 2:30 UK time, I do a live stream direct from the channel. If you're subscribed with the alarm bell notification clicked, you get a message off YouTube just as we're about to go live. Right, let's get into it and take a look at silver in a bit more detail. So it was a volatile month, November, and it's been a volatile year, as we know. We saw the price briefly trade as high as $30 in February of this year. It's been below $22 briefly, and so pretty volatile moves, but no real direction, sort of just gradually down, I suppose, during the year mostly. In mid-November, we did see it at its best levels since June. And it has been, I think, carrying on this recovery that we had off the flash crash levels set in August. Similar sort of moves really in the last 3 months to those we're seeing in gold. We've been talking about inflation when it comes to silver in recent months. And I've been saying, I think that perhaps central banks were being a bit too not worried enough about inflation, saying that it was going to be just transitory. The worry is now that this isn't going to be the case. It isn't going to be transitory. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell said that the term transitory should be retired. He said that earlier this week. So central bankers getting worried perhaps a little bit that inflation could be stickier around here. And of course, traditionally, higher inflation could be seen as helping metals like silver, because it's seen as something of a hedge perhaps against inflation, not as much as gold, but usually it would help definitely support the price. So it'd be interesting to see how this inflation story plays out over the next few months. I was looking at some forecasts before I came on, and I've seen some analysts forecasting silver in the second quarter of the year above $35 an ounce. I really can't see that. That's a 50% move from where we are now. But I do think that perhaps we could see further gains from here, more modest gains. So for me, the recovery, as I said, from August is still going. It's sold off from those November highs. But I do wonder, is this just a buying opportunity? Is this a chance to buy the dip ahead of a stronger finish into the end of the year? Let's talk about the levels to watch, then we'll jump on the charts and set the trade up. So the high hit in November was $25.40. So I think as an intermediate sort of swing target for silver, that to me looks like a logical target to have. On the downside, lots of support coming in for me. The most immediate big support, $22.20, the early October lows. But as usual, to put some color on these numbers and set the trade up, let's take a look at the charts. So here's a reminder of the year to date for silver. So ended 2020 trading around $26.35. You can see what we've done this year, slipped to new lows for the year in late September. And here we are trading just below $23. But I do wonder, are we seeing at least the slightest of recoveries off those August, late October lows? We'll come back to that in a second. If we kicked things off with the RSI, first of all, if you look at where the RSI is now, that is pretty oversold down here. And if we go back and look at some of the previous signals on the RSI, eventually they have done an okay job of calling major, at least short-term turning points for silver. So that's one thing that may lead us to think that perhaps the weakness we've seen since those November highs has gone a little bit too far. But what I'd like to concentrate on, as usual, is the price action. So if we pick up on this correction that's been in place since June of this year and did a good job holding the price down all the way into those late September lows, we had a breakout from that trend line in mid-October, and the price did go on to push higher. I'm always perhaps a bit wary about an initial breakout in case we don't get any follow through and it's a false breakout. But so far, this has proved to be a valid breakout, and it was building a new trend. But as you can see, it's fallen out of that trend over the last couple of weeks. So it does, I think, give us a couple of options here. I think one option is to do nothing, is to wait and see what happens here. You know, are we going to see a bit of strength come back into this market? But as you know, on these videos, we don't really do patience. So I'm tempted to take the view that the lows we saw in September were important lows for the price of silver. And we are going to see some buying interest coming in ahead of those levels. So if I'm going to be a buyer here, I need to think about, well, where's my stop going to go? And for me, you know, the tightest I'd want it at the moment is the other side of those early October lows. They come in at 22.19. If I wanted to give it a bit more room, I could go the other side of 21.40, which has been the low for the year. Maybe I'll go somewhere in the middle. So I'll put my stop in at 21.80. So the other side of $22. So because I think that perhaps this weakness from those highs in November has gone too far. I'm expecting buyers to come back in. Lots of support ahead of 22. 21.80 seems a fair place for a stop. And I'm looking to see if the price can claw its way back up to $25.50. Let's set the trade up. So we're ready to go. The market at the moment is trading just below $23. I am going to be a buyer of 300 ounces. And I'm going to put my stop loss at $21.80. So the other side of those October lows. And that's for the usual risk of around £250. Let's send the trade through. So my order's filled, buying 300 silver at $22.92. We'll see if we do see some support come in down here. You know, the flip side of this, if we go sailing through and set new lows for the year, then clearly that slide from the June highs isn't over. And I think the risk is we're going to see a much more bearish finish to the year for silver, you know, perhaps targeting sub $20. But for now, you know, we can see how 21.5 to 22 has held the price up. Will it be the same again this time round? Let's find out over the next few weeks. That's it for this update in silver. We'll see how that trade works out. We'll come back to it before Christmas, take a look at it, do an update. But for now, from me, David Jones and Capital.com, we'll leave things there. Good luck with your trading. For more trading videos just like this, please subscribe to our channel.